a bit about where I've been this past week and bring you all up to speed. Just give me like 5-10 minutes, and then we're going to get into some Fortnite. As a lot of you know, and if you don't know, that's why I'm doing my morning chit chat here. So 2 Thursdays ago, I was playing Tomb Raider, and it was 6 in the morning. I had just gotten past a particularly rough battle, and I was yucking it up, and then the phone rings, and the phone rings at 6 a.m. And when the phone rings at 6 a.m. and you look at the number, and it's your mom calling you, you know things aren't good. So,
Morning, G.
Morning, chef. So, that phone call, my father had suffered a stroke, and that is why the last stream I did ended so abruptly. We took 2 days to basically took 2 days to kind of see where he was going, and I got down to my hometown of Richmond. We had a long talk with the doctors, and the best case scenario, my father was going to be, if he opened his eyes, he would have been on a feeding tube, he would have been on a respirator, and he wouldn't have moved from a bed. And for those people who knew my dad, that wasn't a life. So that Saturday we said goodbye, and I needed to take a break. Because on the same, to kind of put some other things in motion, the job that I've been waiting on to hear from after getting all through those interviews, they're still keeping me on a string. They haven't. They keep calling me saying, "Oh, we're going to make a decision today," and then I hear nothing. "Oh, we're going to make a decision today." I hear nothing. Then on top of all that, it may seem trivial, but at the time, this was before the stroke happened. Right before my father's stroke hit. Both Happy Hour from the Tower and TeeMonster.com, my 2 primary websites, were hit. They were hacked with malware, and the web host said, "Well, you just got hit with malware, so you have to fix it." And I'm like, how does that work? And I've been with this web host for 10 years. So I hired somebody to go through the websites. They're fine now. They're all clean. Everybody can go visit now. But with all of that, I had to say goodbye to my dad. And so I did what, and real quick, I just got to do a quick shout out to Dr. Lupo, because about 4 days after I said goodbye to my dad, he said goodbye to his. And I admire the fact that Lupo, especially with the following and the amount of people that he has in his network, the fact that he continued to stream, I admire that, but I had to take a break. Gave me a chance to see the community from a silent perspective. The only person I wasn't silent on was Munch, because it's kind of hard to be quiet around Munch. But there's some real quick. There's some. I just want to read some quick, just some names here, and I'll explain why these names are important. First, start from the beginning. KT Brisky, Talk Soup Blog, Indiana Jim, WT, aka Tick Tick Tactical, Richard White, Tiffany Trent, Catherine Herndon, Cossack Kaforma, Christine Bouchard, Spirit Girl 01, Paul McCowan, Piper J. Drake, Matt Beckwith, Rowan, Slice of Sci-Fi, Khaled, Damian Osborne, Will Brown, Britt Marsack, Mur Lafferty, Slough Hallaton, Chuck Wendig, Jim Ryan, Yolanda Cephos, Kellen, Scott Breakall, Nicholas Ferrara, the Steamrollers Adventure Podcast, Benjamin Fraley, Kathy Ivey, and Colleen Onken. And directly from the Twitch community, these are people I have to thank. Evil Aura, ZG Photo, iLulu, Danfinity, Big Mervinsky, J-Dan, Winky, Nikki, Jen Thorpe, Anti-Eye, Nighthawk, Mickey, Thermal Wolf, Rick Weeks, the Friday Night Gaming Podcast, Sevenson, True Shucks, Jen or JNL, and Shav, and of course, the guy that's on here, Munch. All these names all reached out to me on Twitter or Twitch. And I'm not counting the people who reached out to me on Facebook, but I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, because you guys got me through a really hard 48 hours and an even harder week. I am reminded of how this community in such a short amount of time, when I say this community, I mean the folks on Twitch that I've met through Destiny, through Fortnite, from me getting up at this ungodly hour to play video games. I'm reminded how quickly you all just kind of brought me into the fold. And a simple tweet may not seem like a big deal, but when you've got the amount of followers that you have, and you hear from people, you know, when people take the time to stop and say, I'm sorry for your loss, or we're thinking of you, that means the world to me. Lulu told me, she said, I was afraid it came across as insincere, and it really doesn't. Because the hard ones, the harder ones are when you put something on online and nobody responds. And when people just reach out and just express their thoughts, I just wish it had been under better circumstances. I wish you could have met my dad. I'll tell you this much about him. He sold steel for over 50 years, and his nickname in the industry was the Man of Steel. And
he looked a big boy, actually.
He was a big man. And he was a Coors Light drinker, you know, Michelob Ultra, that kind of crap. And I was his rebellious son that introduced him to things like you know, Dogfish, Allagash, you know, just all the one thing that I will miss terribly. And I consider myself very lucky, because not many sons grow up to be friends with their folks. They're always their kid. But my dad and I, once a month, we'd go out to this beer place. They would have these monthly dinners, and it would be these 5-course meals, all paired up with a different beer. And that's when Dad and I would really talk. And these were the kind of talks that I never had with my father when I was younger, because I wasn't the jock. Doesn't mean my dad didn't come to my dad came to everything I did in high school and college. Both my parents did, but I remember this one particular time I had I was doing a dance concert. I was doing dance. I was doing tap dance at college, and it was in the middle of the week, and my mom and my dad spent the night in Harrisonburg, because he was doing sales calls in the area, and he spent the night in Harrisonburg so he could watch me do this how you doing, Billy? Do this dance concert. And but what I was saying is that supportive dad, but these beer dinners it was just us, and really good beer, and really potent beer. My mom was the designated driver for the two of us. We would get in the van after these dinners. My dad would pass out in the back seat, and I'd have my head leaning on the window, going, "I love you, Mom. Thanks for doing this. I love you, Mom. Thanks for doing this." My dad was an amazing man. But I just wanted to make sure I said my thank yous to everybody here for your support, for reaching out, and it didn't go unnoticed. That's the point. It didn't go unnoticed.
Oh, by the way, it's nice to have you back.
It's good to be back. It's honestly, and a big shout out to Danfinity. That, you know, I was like, hey, Unicorn. I was like, let me just take this week to myself, and then there's Danfinity. Danfinity, hey guys, let's do a raid layer. And I was like, okay, but I won't stream. And then listening to Dan stream, I said, Damn it. Okay, let me just do one. Let me do a little bit of streaming. And, God, that guy, damn. Hashtag blame Dan. But it feels good to be back. Let's play some video games, guys. Thank you, True Shucks. I'm so excited to be playing with you, True Shucks. It's the first time I've gotten a chance to play with you.